So as the publisher of the paper, how did you balance letting the editors in those early days have their head against giving constructive feedback and advice?
No, it's only 24 hours a day. And you can't do every paper every day. I certainly can't now, but I'm around. They know what I think.
And they certainly did back then. Early on, Rupert Murdoch would post a regular bulletin in the newsroom, critiquing the previous day's edition. This is from February the 26th, 1965.
I should have done a bulletin for yesterday's paper. It was very good. Today's is not. Page 1 of Thursday's paper was one of the best yet. Today is very poor by comparison. Why can't we do these straight, simple stories, at least as well as other newspapers?
Pretty blunt feedback?
Yeah, well, of course. I learned that in Britain working in Fleet Street papers. The editor would do that. That was good. I think the staff read it, you stick it up on the board.
Then there's this, the same month.
Please note, we are not a left-wing Labour paper, nor are we tied to any particular political party or philosophy. We are simply in the business of reporting, interpreting, and sometimes commenting on the facts in that order.
That sounds like your mission statement for a newspaper then and a newspaper now. Is that the case?
Absolutely. I am interested in what we say and comment at the end. But first, you've got to get the facts right. Easy to say, but difficult to do.
That's the thing with the Australian, it breaks stories and puts facts into the public debate that perhaps aren't highlighted elsewhere. Is the paper more important for its news or for its opinion and debate?
Oh, look, I always think it's news, Chris. You know, it has to be news. I'm on the opinion page, but I'm using what's in our news pages, or I'm finding my own news, but it's really about news and facts.
Janet Albrechtson is a lawyer who's now spent more than 20 years as a leading columnist at The Australian. She writes without fear or favour.
I always get amazed at how often, people on the left, one of the other things that I would routinely get accused of in the early days is, like Rupert tells you what to write. So, he doesn't, actually. I've never heard from Rupert Murdoch.
Has he never given you a suggestion?
Not even an editor at The Australian has given me a suggestion, It's crazy there.
Rupert Murdoch's intentions for The Australian were made plain in the very first edition.
We'll, of necessity as well as by choice, be concentrating on issues which interest everybody in Australia.
He wrote the front page editorial. It was headed, "Good Day."
This paper is tied to no party, to no state, and has no chains of any kind. Its guide is faith in Australia and the country's future.
I think we live that every day. We have been critical of every side of politics. I think John Howard would be the first to say that The Australian, on everything from the AWB to middle-class welfare, was very critical of him at times. And that's what makes The Australian trustworthy for readers, because they know that we are not at all political. We're not tribal. We just have a set of values, and we'll hold any politician, regardless of their stripes, to those values.